How's it going, folks? Welcome back to Exuberant Rants. I am your host, Mike the Wayward Reporter, also known as Based Hippie. Yeah, I am going to go with that. Somebody suggested that to me the other day, Based Hippie. Alright, I want to do a quick video on Mandela effect. Now, a lot of people are having a hard time, swallowing this whole Mandela effect thing. I assure you it is very real. Very real. Hey, I'm not going to go into all the details, but, I remember growing up learning the difference between a German EI sound and an American EI sound through the Berenstain Bears. Learning that it was Berenstein in English, but in German it would be Berenstein. Now it's Berenstain. So, yeah. That notwithstanding, I would like to pull out a few, for those of us who are, onto the whole Mandela effect thing and trying to get others to, just get over their cognitive dissonance, or whatever you want to call it. I got a few talking points. Can I help you? Jesus, dog, give me some space. Yeah, you want some space? Here, sit up front. Sit up front with your brother. Go on. Brother, sit up front. Up front. Go on. Go on. You got it. Come on. Come on, man. Butters. Go on. Up front. There you go. There, now leave me alone. Where was I? Talking points when trying to, when arguing with somebody, when discussing with somebody, when trying to sway them to see what a lot of us are seeing with the Mandela effect. Some of the strongest points that I've come across while researching it. Start out with the references to famous lines in TV shows and movies over the past few decades. For example, the Sally Fields. You like me. You really, really like me. Is now, you like me. Right now, you like me. No. Little side note, Sally Fields, apparently her brother, I believe it was, works at CERN. So there's red flag number one. But, in TV shows and movies, since that happened in the late 80s or whatever, there have been probably definitely dozens, if not hundreds of references. I had never even seen the clip until I was something years old. Probably already graduated out of high school. It was just something I grew up with was, you like me. You really, really like me. And it's referenced in so many TV shows. And I understand, maybe the reference is wrong. Maybe they just want it to be close or whatnot. But the fact of the matter is, you cannot find me a single. And if you can, please do point them out, because I am looking for evidence to prove me wrong. You cannot find me an example of you like me. Right now, you like me. You'd think if that was the way it actually was, there would be there would be at least one reference that was, more on point and not wrong like the rest of them. Another perfect example is, the Star Wars. Luke, I am your father, but now it's no, I am your father. But when you look at all the references, all the TV, hundreds on that one, I guarantee it, hundreds, it's always Luke, or, they'll throw in whatever character from the TV show, whoever, Bobby, I am your father, I don't fucking know where that came from. But yeah, once again, but you can't show me, I've never seen any reference to it in a TV show or movie where they say, no, I am your father. Once again, if you can, feel free to leave the link below. I would love to see it. Same with we're gonna need a bigger boat versus you're gonna need a bigger boat. Alright, chalk that one up to a discrepancy. Let's see here. Who are we forgetting? The JFK Museum in Dallas has an exact replica of the vehicle that they were in that day. Yet the video shows a different, the video shows a middle row of seats, so it's a 6-seater versus at the replica at the museum is a 4-seater. Like the middle seat is completely taken out, make it into a limo. So that is highly suspect. What else? It's very interesting to note that like before CERN, when they were building that Hadron Collider, the whole reason they were building it is because they theorized that the Higgs boson particle existed, the God particle. The glue that's holding, the substance that's holding everything together. And there's numerous articles before the Higgs boson was actually discovered and proven that, theorized that it existed, and straight up said, if this exists, then mathematically that means, this equal and opposite must also exist. And if that exists, then time travel, interdimensional travel, like they are within the realm of physical possibility. This was just like the missing ingredient that they couldn't tie it all together with. And they said long before they just were able to prove that it existed, and they just theorized that it existed and put I believe it is the most expensive scientific project ever done. With I don't know exactly how many countries, but a lot of countries contributing a lot of money. We're talking billions. And yeah. So like, and something else worth noting is so the James Bond, the old movie with James Bond with Jaws, who's got the silver jaw, the metal jaw. Now, he has a love interest in one of these movies where, it slows down and it just pans to her face, and then his face, and then her face, and then his face. The whole slow down. I believe that might have actually been the original scene that all those other movies were referencing when it happened. And the thing that tied the two characters together, that gave them, that common thread to where it made sense to write it out that way in the movie, was the fact that he had a metal jaw and she had braces. And I've personally never seen the movie, but there are James, there are 007 fanatics at the it's what made that scene so she has braces, he has a metal jaw. Otherwise, it's just kind of random. It's just kind of a random chick. It's like, why is she into this dude with a metal jaw? This does not make sense. This is not something a normal person does. Although I doubt she was normal, but the common thread, the linking bond. And speaking of Bond, it's really interesting. There's a CERN video, just kind of like life around CERN, put out by CERN. And when they go by this one scientist's office, he's sitting in his chair at his office, and he's holding up 2 pieces of paper that say Mandela and Bond. So there, explain that. I'll try to get the links in the description below if I remember. These are the talking points that nobody has been able to debunk whatsoever. And given assuming that the people who theorized and predicted that the Higgs boson particle existed before it was known, assuming these people who theorized that if it existed, that means time travel is possible, assuming they're correct, because they were so far, because they proved it existed. They photographed the Higgs boson. And what's really interesting is that experiment went from 2010 to 2013, and I forget the exact year that they actually photographed it. But it's worth noting that if you go to Google search history, they're trending and whatnot, you can see the search history for terms. They have an archive that goes back. Now, the Mandela effect had never been uttered in a Google search bar until around 2011. I believe it was January that there was one single solitary search for the term the Mandela effect. It's the first time ever, really. And then nothing for a few months. It may have been a few years. I don't remember. I'm dyslexic like that. but at least it was like a few months, and then there was one single solitary search for the Mandela effect, the second one ever, and then there was nothing for months, years, whatever it was. And I believe that was in 2011 that occurred. I'm pretty sure it was months apart. And then there's nothing, not a sin, no searches, nobody searches for the Mandela effect until around 2013, when the lady who kind of coined the term went to a UFO convention, I believe it was, and the term, and started, set up a booth and started discussing it, and like you'll slowly see the trending, like it starts to go, and it doesn't take long. I think it's less than a matter of a few months, and it just spikes straight up. Now, you can't, I would love to hear somebody explain why that is. Why that, never searched at all the term the Mandela effect. Once, 1 month, a few months later, nothing in between, one more, and then a few years later, just a trickle. Somebody was searching for that, and it makes sense. If time travel does exist, they're not going to tell the public about it, because that'll send people into a fucking frenzy. Like the cognitive dissonance and the lack of accountability that people will incorporate from that, it will turn into, it'll just be total and utter chaos, and like all inhibitions to the wind, I feel. So they're testing us. They're testing the public because I don't know. You hear time travel, and people always think like Marty McFly and Doc Brown and Rick and Morty. And it's like, we're not going into, we're not sending people into the past. Now, I'm not saying that can't be done. If time travel is possible, then it's only a matter of time before we're sending people back, and there's lots of evidence for that too. Lots of photographs that people like to dismiss, but they. Anyway, not getting into that, because the point is, CERN said before they discovered the Higgs boson that if they can prove it exists, that means time travel and interdimensional travel is theoretically possible. Like the ability to separate space from time and make them, independent of one another, was a mathematical certainty if they could prove this particle exists. They proved it existed, and nobody's fucking talking about it. It just kind of like bloop off the radar. Like, hey, yeah, we found that thing. What did you say, man? Once we found nothing. I forget. Just go on. Oh shit, what's Kanye doing? But it makes sense. Like, obviously we're not sending people back. If it's a new technology and we're just delving into it. But it would make sense that if we're going to be doing that it would probably start small. Word processor type thing, if you put it on the computer terms. We're at that DOS level. So we're not going to be able to send back entire packets of data that make up living human beings. However, altering the text on a teleprompter or a script, just at at a certain key moment where it doesn't get caught by those creating the moment, but and it gets ingrained in history, different from the way that our timeline knew. So that's a very real possibility. That's a very real possibility. Just tiny little alterations in the past, and then and yeah, I guess that's about it. Anybody can please explain these things that I've brought up. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear why it is everybody remembers adult diapers being called Depends with an S at the end, but now it's Depend. I would love to hear why it is that everybody that I've asked remembers the Beatles. What would you think if what would you do if I sang out of tune? But it's not do anymore. It's think. And what's really interesting is I'm looking online and on YouTube, and I noticed that all the live performances are think, but the studio copies. You know, no, I'm sorry. The studio copies say think, but the live copies say do. So once again, more evidence of that. Just like James Earl Jones, every time he's quoted that most famous line in all of cinematic history, "Luke, I am your father." Like every interview that he's referring to that line, it's always "Luke, I am your father." Like it doesn't make sense. Like, and I'm not saying this to like panic people. I want to put it out there. I want maybe I just unplugged you. I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. But all I know is it's happening, and I think I'm happy about it because I'm pretty sure that we did a drastic cosmic shift around the time of the election. I feel like maybe we went a different route and landed in a universe where Hillary Clinton didn't win. And all I can say to that is thank God. Like, even if CERN is like bringing forth Satan himself, like at least he spared us Hillary Clinton. I will take eternal damnation over 4 years of that bitch. Yeah. So look into shit. Don't take my word for it. Never take anybody's word as gospel, because the only gospel you can make is your own. And you might as well, like, I'm not here to defend any particular ideology or theme or narrative or anything like that. I'm here to defend truth. I'm here to find truth. I'm here to refine truth. Refined and refined truth. So that you don't have to, because I realized recently there's a reason people just click on the TV and listen to the talking heads in order to get the information as to what's going on in their world, because it's fucking exhausting to do the research, to do the cross-checking, to determine whether sources are valid or not, looking at their history and incorporating politics and funding politics. It's ridiculous. And yeah, sometimes you get killed by a Clinton too. So yeah, it's no picnic when I do. Ooh, pizza. But guys, do your own research. Let me know what you think below. You don't have to believe what I have to say, but if you're gonna talk shit, at least try to back it up. Prove me wrong, please. I look forward to it. It's an opportunity to learn, and y'all should look at that the same way, because then y'all can explain this shit. Oh, Butters. Yeah. Butters verifies. So, with that, I continue rambling on. Ramble on! Until I hit the end button. Spiral out, folks.